Hello, and welcome back to Whole Systems Healing series on Ayurveda health. Today I'm recording from a different space, but don't mind the posters, it's my son's room. Yeah, so today, first I did want to give you the link to my blog, which is wholesystems.wordpress.com. And there you can find more. I do some writings on Ayurveda, of course, and also some travel blog stuff and environmental writing as well. But it's all kind of linked. So in this third class, I guess you could call it, I wanted to introduce the Dhatus. So in Ayurveda, there's 7 Dhatus, which are tissues. And I guess the number 7 appears a lot in Ayurveda, but the sequential order of the Dhatus is pertinent because the order that, where a disease or illness or impurity manifests in which Dhatu actually can tell us how far along in the disease process the person is. So, for example, the first tissue is called a rasa, which is plasma, and that's like the first formation of the tissues. So once something moves from rasa into the blood, it's gone further into the body. So the second tissue is rasa or blood. Now, the plasma is that all the synovial fluid that surrounds the joints and the ligaments and lubricates everything around the tissue. So yeah, the second tissue is called rakta, and that's blood. The third one is mamsa. So let's think about this. If there was like a linear path that a disease could move in the body, it would start in the plasma or the rasa, and then move into the blood, and then move into the muscle tissue. After that is fat, which is called mera. And after that is number 5, ashti, which is the bone tissue. So once something is seen in the bone tissue, it's already moved through the other 4 tissues to get to that place. So that's not a good sign. When we see bone degeneration, oftentimes there's already been cellular degeneration on multiple levels. So we want to address how that has moved through the tissues in the sequential flow of how a disease has moved into the body and entered the tissues and gotten to the bones. The sixth tissue is bone marrow or nerve. So bone marrow is actually a really big trend now in the health world because there's so many benefits to eating the marrow of an animal. It lubricates our joints. It has a lot of essential amino acids, enzymes. It's good for gut health. There's just innumerable benefits. And bone marrow is related to the nervous system. So we call this maja. So bone marrow and nerve tissue are actually one and the same. And the bone marrow, sources of bone marrow, you can actually get from slow cooking a really good quality bone of whatever your preference is, be it chicken, turkey, beef, lamb. I don't eat pork, but pork is also good. And you slow cook those bones, and you can actually nourish your own bone marrow from eating the marrow of an animal. So the 7th tissue is reproductive fluid, which is called shukra. So those are the seven tissues. And after digestion of our food, those tissues are nourished and formed. So the direction of their formation is correlated to what we would talked about before, the Agni. So the quality of the Agni creates the quality of the tissue formation. So this is again why I'm introducing each concept in a sequential form, because the Agni forms the tissues. So our food and our digestion forms our Agni and then moves through our plasma, blood, muscle, fat, bone, marrow, nerve, and reproductive system or tissues. So the other topic I wanted to touch on in relation to Agni is how low functioning Agni can affect us on a cellular level. So there is cellular immunity and cellular communication. So when our cells are disturbed from not having proper absorption of minerals and nutrients, the cellular intelligence is disturbed. So the cells can't even communicate to to the other cells to be able to receive the right signals from the rest of the body's cells. So the immune cells will then attack the surrounding cells in a defense way, kind of like a militia or an army, and it's kind of like a foreign body. Well, you could think of it like the Trump situation with the wall, the immigrants being the foreign bodies that are attacking. Maybe not a great example, just, yeah. So what this leads to then, if the Agni's low, the tissues aren't forming properly, that's how autoimmune function can develop. And we can look at the quality of the Dhatus to be able to see how an autoimmune disease can progress. There's another topic that I'm going to incorporate in this. I'll probably bring in more into the next series, but we will talk about Amma. So Amma, unfortunately, that's what my kids call their grandma, and Amma is also like a surrogate mother in Southeast Asia, nothing related to the Sanskrit term of Amma in Ayurveda, which means toxins. So when the body isn't assimilating the nutrients from our foods properly, Amma is formed. And we can see signs of Amma in the body, which we'll get to later on down the road. But once Amma starts to form, that's actually disturbing the function of the rest of the cells and the tissues. And we want to trap Amma and prevent it from spreading. Once Amma spreads to the tissues, it's harder to trap. So you'll hear me bring that term up a lot, and I wanted to introduce that because Amma also can mix with the doshas, and once there's toxicity in the doshas, then that's also something that we want to tackle before it progresses. So the theme here that I want you to take note of is this whole, all these concepts are based on tracing the path of disease. So we're focused on preventing a disease from forming in the body. That's the whole focus of Ayurveda, and understanding all the systems in the body and how they're connected to prevent a person from getting into that farther stage of progression of disease or illness. So thank you for number 3. That was on the tissues, and I will see you in the next session. Thank you.